Okay, let's journey back in time, all the way to the 7th century, to witness a moment of just incredible faith and, honestly, ambition. This is the story of a series of letters, sealed with a simple silver ring, that were about to try and reshape the entire world. So, think about this for a second. It's a massive question, right? When you truly believe your message is for all of humanity, how do you even begin to reach beyond your own borders, beyond the horizon? Well, the first move, it isn't with an army. It's with a message. And this is the story of that first, incredibly audacious outreach. You know, timing is everything in history. And to get what's happening here, you have to understand the context. For years, the early Muslim community was in a near-constant state of conflict. But the Treaty of Al-Hudaibiyyah, that created this rare, crucial window of peace. It was a moment to finally breathe, to strategize, and for the very first time, to really look outward.
And this, right here, was a total game changer. The mission wasn't just about consolidating the Arabian Peninsula anymore. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, set his sights way beyond that. He was signaling that Islam wasn't just some local affair, but a universal invitation. It was time to engage with the global superpowers on their own terms.
Now, you can't just send anyone on a mission like this. I mean, when you're approaching the most powerful rulers on the entire planet, the messengers themselves have to embody the message. Their character was every bit as important as the parchment they were carrying.
Let's break down what these qualities actually meant on the ground. Eloquence and wisdom, you needed that to debate in the most sophisticated courts in the world. Bravery, we're talking about immense courage, walking right into the lion's den, representing a new power that could easily be seen as a threat. Even their appearance and their patience were a direct reflection of the dignity of the faith they represented.
And that quality of patience, sabr as it's known in Arabic, was absolutely paramount. This Quranic verse was basically their mandate. Look, this mission was a marathon, not a sprint. It demanded the kind of fortitude you'd need to endure grueling journeys, the arrogance of kings, and a whole lot of potential rejection, all while holding firm to the message.
All right, let's get to the real heart of our story. This is where we see exactly how this message was received by the two superpowers of the day. And what we're about to see is a dramatic, incredible contrast in leadership, in pride, and ultimately, in destiny. So in one corner, you've got Heraclius, the emperor of the Byzantine Empire, basically the Eastern Romans. And in the other corner, you have Kisra, the Shahanshah, or King of Kings, of the mighty Persian Sassanid Empire. Two letters were sent, sealed with the exact same seal, but wow, their receptions could not have been more different. The letter sent to Heraclius was just a masterclass in diplomacy. It didn't start with threats or demands. It started by finding common ground. It calls the people of the Scripture, that's Jews and Christians, to a principle they already shared, the worship of one God. It was a brilliant invitation to dialogue. And Heraclius' reaction is fascinating. He didn't respond with arrogance, but with genuine curiosity. He didn't just dismiss it. You can just picture the scene, a grand, light-filled Byzantine palace. The emperor calls in Arab merchants, including a leader from Mecca, Abu Sufyan, who was actually an opponent of the prophet at the time. And he just grills him, asking question after question about the prophet's lineage, his truthfulness, his character. And after hearing all the answers, Heraclius was so convinced of the prophet's authenticity that he made this absolutely astonishing statement. Now, he didn't convert, probably because of political pressure from his own court. But that respect he showed for the message, it saved his kingdom from immediate conflict. Okay, now let's do a complete 180. We're moving from the thoughtful, reflective court of Rome to the opulent but far more volatile court of Persia. And the atmosphere here is completely different. It's all about immense pride and unchecked power. The response from Kisra was just pure hubris. When the letter was read to him, he was deeply insulted. How dare a ruler from Arabia, a place he considered his subject, write to him this way? So in a fit of rage, he just grabs the letter and rips it to shreds. It was a symbolic act of complete and utter rejection. So when the news of this disrespectful act got back to the prophet, his response wasn't a military threat. It was a powerful supplication, a prayer. He simply asked that just as his letter was torn, Kisra's kingdom would also be torn apart. And this is where the story gets, well, honestly, unbelievable. Kisra orders his governor in Yemen to arrest the prophet. When the governor's men show up, the prophet meets them not with fear, but with news that was impossible for any human to know. He tells them, "My lord has killed your lord this very night." The messengers were just stunned, but when they checked the news, they found out it was true. Kisra had been murdered by his own son at that exact moment. The prophecy was fulfilled. The governor and the people of Yemen embraced Islam, and within just a few years, the once mighty Persian Empire completely collapsed.
So the fate of Persia sent absolute shockwaves across the region. But remember, the letters had gone out to many other rulers as well. This was a truly global outreach, and the variety of responses really paints a vivid picture of the world's leaders at that time.
You can almost map out the geopolitical landscape from these reactions. In Egypt, the ruler showed respect with gifts but didn't convert. The King of Abyssinia, who'd sheltered Muslims before, received the letter with honor. The rulers of Bahrain and Oman, they accepted Islam entirely, bringing their people along with them. But then in Yamama, the ruler tried to negotiate for a share of the power, a request that was flatly refused, proving the message itself couldn't be compromised. Each reaction was its own lesson in diplomacy.
So what's the ultimate takeaway from this incredible diplomatic campaign? What was the lasting impact of these letters, sent across vast deserts and seas? You see, at their very core, these letters were about fulfilling a sacred duty. The mission was to convey the message to all of humankind. It was something way bigger than politics, bigger than borders, and certainly bigger than any single empire.
This diplomatic outreach literally put Islam on the world map. It was a clear announcement that a new force, one founded on faith, justice, and a universal message, had arrived, and it demanded to be taken seriously. It was a declaration of purpose to the entire world.
And ultimately, the entire mission is perfectly encapsulated in verses like this one. The goal was never conquest for conquest's sake, but to deliver a message that was seen as a mercy for all of creation. These letters, they were the vehicle for that mercy, inviting humanity to a new way of life. And that leaves us with a final thought, something to bring back to our own time. We are all constantly receiving messages, new ideas, different beliefs, truths that challenge us. So how do we respond? Is it with the thoughtful curiosity of Heraclius, who is willing to investigate, or is it with the arrogant pride of Kisra, who just tore up what he didn't understand? It's a question worth reflecting on.